Hey everyone, welcome to another poolside chat. Pastor Chris Ireland, and it's Wednesday, so I'm answering some questions that you presented. Hey, and today it's kind of an answer to a question. I don't know if I was directly asked this or not, but I remember hearing on TV one of the commentators said that Putin does not understand the West. He does not understand the Ukrainian resistance. He does not understand the Ukrainian courage. He does not understand the will. He does not understand the West. And I remember over the years I've had people say they don't understand Christianity. An election, 12, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, one of the parties said they weren't sure that God should be part of their platform anymore, belief in God. And when there was an uprising, they said they don't understand Christians. It was a moment of honesty and clarity. And it made me think maybe the two are related. Remember last week I said that according to a survey in 2018, 72% of Ukraine profess belief in Jesus Christ. There are two people that I want to talk about that I've thought about in preparing for this. Richard Wurmbrand was a Romanian pastor in the 50s, 60s. He was imprisoned, and this is when Romania was under communist rule. Nicolae Ceausescu was a dictator, communism. And they threw Richard Wurmbrand in prison for 14 years. Horrible, horrible torture he went through. His faith never wavered, actually grew stronger in spite of all they did. His wife was actually in prison for 3 years. Mental torture, physical torture, it was just awful. There's a quote that Richard Wurmbrand said that I wanted to share with you. This was one of those moments when he had to stand up for Jesus Christ and the church or give in to communism. And he said, "My wife and I were present at this Congress." This is a communist Congress in Romania. "My wife and I were present at this Congress. Sabina told me, 'Richard, stand up and wash away this shame from the face of Christ. They are spitting in his face.' I said to her," Richard Wurmbrand, "if I do so, you lose your husband." She replied, "I don't wish to have a coward for a husband." 14 years he was in prison. This is the will that comes out for a Christian. This is the will and the courage, the strength you see in the Ukrainian people as they fight communism. He said it's an evil. It cannot exist with freedom-loving people. Putin does not understand the West. I've heard people say they don't understand Christians. And maybe this love for others, this love for Christ, this love and drive from someone outside and beyond us, God, has a lot to do with it. Dietrich Bonhoeffer was a German pastor and preacher, again, Lutheran minister, which I find fascinating. He stood up for the free church in Germany under Nazis. This is Nazi Germany. And it said that a couple times he left Germany, but he had to go back because he had to fight for her people against evil, Nazism. And here's a quote by Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Dietrich Bonhoeffer was put to death. He was hanged right at the end of the war. He gave his life to fight for the people and fight for Christ. This is a quote of his. Jesus Christ lived in the midst of his enemies. At the end, all his disciples deserted him on the cross. He was utterly alone, surrounded by evildoers and mockers. For this cause he had come, to bring peace to the enemies of God. So the Christian too belongs not in the seclusion of a cloistered life, but in the thick of foes. There is his commission, his work. The kingdom is to be in the midst of your enemies, and he who will not suffer this does not want to be of the kingdom of Christ. He wants to be among friends, to sit among roses and lilies, not with bad people, but with the devout. O you blasphemers and betrayers of Christ! If Christ had done what you are doing, who would ever have been spared? People don't understand Christians. Putin does not understand the Ukrainians in the West. The courage, the fortitude, the desire for freedom, the fight for others, and standing up to stop evil. Both Dietrich Bonhoeffer and Richard Wurmbrand called out Nazism and communism what they are: evil. They are incompatible with Christians. And they didn't fight with evil, but they fought out of love for the freedom of others. Christ gave his life for the freedom of people. I hope this gives some insight into why Putin does not understand the Ukrainian freedom-loving people, the courage, the will, the self-sacrifice that is being exhibited, that is admired, and rightfully so, amongst all peoples of the world. And I just hope this gives a little insight. It just struck me when I heard this, because to me, they kind of go hand in hand. Thanks for listening. Keep these questions coming. Remember, Saturday, we're here Wednesdays and Saturdays. Saturday, we're going to talk about heaven. What is that home? What is that place that awaits us? For those who have faith in Christ, have given their lives for him. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and we'll see you Saturday. Remember, let your friends know. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at FL Compass Church. See you then.